All right, guys. So we're just going to pedal really easily this first little bit, first few minutes. And we are just pretty much rolling off the couch, 3 out of 10 kind of feel. And I'm just going to have you lift it a couple of times over the next few minutes. And then we're going to work on a piece, a good long block that is really focusing on A, endurance kind of range for your workout preparation, and B, cadence efficiency. So one of the things talk about a lot is having a good range of capability throughout your cadences. It's one of the first things I think that everyone needs to work on a little bit. Not many of us come in having much more than a little window about 10 RPM, it seems. I remember for myself, I got told off umpteen times in the beginning. I didn't really know I had a front derailleur. So I just rode around in my big chainring all the time. And yeah, sure enough, I crushed my legs a bunch of times. So I learned the hard way, and I'm trying to encourage you guys to do your homework. So actually it was pretty funny. I was going to do a spring series race, and I'd been riding all winter on my trainer on my bike because I was working and whatever else, and I get sweating buckets all over my bike and barely ever shifting a gear. And then I jumped into a spring series race out on the road in the valley. I went off the line. This is me. This is first year racing. And I went off the line and I was like, oh, I can't shift gears. And so luckily it was a pretty flat course, but I did actually ride the whole thing just in my big ring and whatever I could do with the gears that I could actually shift into. So that was pretty funny. Real life mistake. Okay, so bring it up to 4 out of 10. If you're not there already, you're at preferred cadence. So bring a little into it. Just starting to feel a little bit behind the legs. Nice and relaxed. Upper body nice and relaxed. Thinking about nice smooth circles. And we're just going to do another lift after a little bit. So preferred cadence, I always refer to it as 90 to 105, sort of a flat road riding sort of cadence. Somewhere in there, probably your best place, most efficient place that we want to work on a little bit. But also if you are riding off-road more, then you probably are dropping into lower cadences much more frequently. So what your preferred cadence might be is a little lower, and that's fine. Just trying to be thinking in terms of the turnover and the velocity being an important part of generating the power. And you will never, ever achieve your biggest capabilities in power if you can't turn over a gear, because you need leg speed, force times velocity for maximum power. So one more gear, 5 out of 10 now. So bringing that up, just holding the cadence around the same. Settle into it, 5 out of 10 now is just at the bottom of our endurance range. Endurance being 55 to 65% about all day power of your max aerobic power number. So feeling 5 out of 10, you know you got quite a ways to go, 5.5 out of 10. But the concept is that you're functioning with ample oxygen, which is why one really easy test to see if you're riding an endurance type pace, if you're riding aerobically, is to try and talk and to put words together and to see if you're fairly conversational. And if you're grabbing at words because you're challenged by the amount of oxygen you're using, then you're probably starting to lift out of that endurance pace. So a little simple test if you're trying to get a feel, get your internal monitor dialed for that. Okay? So just hold on here. Make sure you're at that 50% number. If you know your wattage number, we're going to finish off the rest of this minute. Tiny little break as we adjust, not really a break. We're just going to find our 60%. We're going to go right into this and drop our cadence a little bit. So down to that 80. I think probably most of you are closer to 90 at your preferred cadence. So have a little drink of water. We're going to do 2 9-minute pieces. The first one at 60%, the second one at 70%-ish. Okay? So thinking of the first one as just in the middle of that I can talk endurance pace, and you're going to start at an 80 cadence. So let's drop the leg speed. I think everybody needs to drop their leg speed a little bit. 20 pedal strokes every 15 seconds. If you're trying to do it by counting, find that number, 60%, or 6 out of 10 feeling, and relax, okay? This is all day riding pace, but what we're gonna do is keep lifting and lifting the cadence, and then bringing it back after a little blip to 60%. So it's gonna be a good warm-up block, focusing on that endurance range with cadence efficiency. All right, almost at a minute coming up. Make sure you're at that 80 cadence. Make sure you got that number. We're gonna settle in now. And although I don't want you to project too far, there's 8 minutes to go, but we're gonna be doing something every couple of minutes, okay? So let's get that cadence right. We don't have a massive amount of push behind the pedals. This is partly an efficiency exercise and partly your warm-up. Good little block. Structure warm-up into aerobic workout. Okay, we're halfway through the second minute. So what you're gonna do for me on my cue is you're gonna lift your cadence without changing your gear to 90. Okay? You're gonna go with that increase in power/effort for a minute. And we're gonna be there in less than 10 seconds now. So start getting ready to wind it up in 3, 2, 1. 90 cadence. And that, unless you're on a smart trainer that is adjusting the watts back for you, you're gonna have to give it a little bit to give yourself an extra 15 to 20 watts. And we're gonna settle in, finish this minute, and then come back to 60%. We're gonna keep doing that throughout this piece. Good job, you got 30 more seconds here. Should feel really quite easy be doing this. That's okay. Good block of aerobic here. Good job, another 15 seconds. And then you're gonna bring the gear back just a little bit to see that 60% number again. Good job. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, back the gear off just a little bit so you're at 60% again and you're staying at 90 RPM. Okay, get used to this new rhythm. Get it locked in. Awesome, you guys. I really like this because it gives you the feeling of hanging out at a range of effort, but delivering that power in a whole bunch of different ways. Good, right here. 90 cadence, nothing's hard yet. Still just bringing up the effort. Lots of oxygen If I had you inside, I'd probably ask you to say a sentence to the person next to you. The sisters could do it. Practice. If you can't talk, you're going too hard right now. We've got a minute. Good. And when you bring it up, that 10 RPM, which you're going to do again in less than a minute now, then you're going to just take on that extra push, wattage, feeling of output. And you'll bring it down again. We'll keep doing that. We're going to get up to a range that's not comfortable for any of us, I don't think, looking at who's there. Certainly isn't for me. I don't think for the mountain bike girls, unless you've been aspiring to be Yolanda Neff, which isn't a bad thing. But she needs to crank up the power behind her. Very, very high cadence sometimes. Okay? So 10, less than 10 seconds. Thinking about 100 RPM. We're going to bring that up in 2, 1, 100 cadence, 25 pedal strokes every 15 seconds. Feeling is probably around your 70%. Getting a little more catch in your words. Good. Just hang out here, 100 cadence. Hold on to the gear, same as you did before. 30 more seconds. When I started riding, I could not ride my bike at 100 RPM. Take some work and thinking about it. Right now, you have just changed your cadence by 20 RPM. That's a lot. Okay? Hold it here though now. 100 cadence. And back the gear off just that little bit that you need to bring it back to 60%. Okay, new rhythm. Feel your way into it. Nice and relaxed. And just feeling it underneath you, tapping away. This is what enables you to just ride along and cruise, do things with a nice turnover, and actually have pedaling sort of just an extension of yourself. Subconscious, it'll sure help you for that Zwift if you're taking it on, because you know what happens. You stop pedaling for a second and your little guy puts his foot down. That's a really bad thing to see. Darn cartoons. Okay, another minute. And then you're going to do another lift to 110. Okay, just do a little top to bottom. Shoulders, relaxed arms, light hands. Just over 30 seconds, you're going to bring it up for me to 110. 110 cadence, and you're not touching the gear. Okay, 110 for most of us is overreaching. I'm happy if you can be up there when you want to be, when you need to be. Helps you with that overall ability to accelerate when you need to call on it. Okay? 10 seconds. Winding it up in this gear. In 3, 2, 1, 110. Try and find it pretty quickly. Look away. Get used to the rhythm, the feeling, and see if you can just look back and see the same number. 109's allowed. 111's allowed. 112 even. Not 113. Okay, just hold on to that. 30 more seconds. Good job, guys. Fully aerobic. It's just a little bit of tension in the legs, from trying to ride at this higher cadence. You got 50 more seconds. Awesome. Last 10. We're gonna adjust for a minute. And then we're gonna do it again from 70%. In 2, 1, and relax. Give yourself a break. Come back to whatever cadence makes you feel happy. Let the legs relax. This is actually a really good trainer warm-up for doing a short, fast stage, short, fast race, short, fast prologue, any of those things. Taking you through your range of cadence, and you can just do it at a variety of gears. Okay, have a little drink. And find that for me again. 80 cadence. This time, your 70% number. So that means with the cadence increases, you're gonna be bringing it up, more likely your 80%. So a little bit of a hard blip, warming you up. So 80 cadence, bring that gear in. Basically, we started the second one. As you're finding it, that's fine. It's the first minute, 80 RPM, 70%. Think about letting your ankles move, nice smooth circles, 360 degrees. Awesome. 30 seconds are done. Keep just checking in. Keep it that nice, kind of crisp climbing cadence of 80. Check, you don't want to be overshooting your gear, but I don't want you to be too easy. You got to have a little bit of meat against the legs now, meat against the feet. You got 1 more minute like this. Come on, guys. Think about that circle. Think about driving the knee up into the handlebar, knees tracking forward. If you have any tendencies to collapse or have your knees pointing outwards, none of you do that I see. The collapse thing is certainly common as well, where you're kind of doing a little bit of that. I have to think about it after some injuries. So just think about knees tracking forward, okay? From 80, you're gonna increase the cadence to 90. It's gonna bump up your effort, so you will actually feel it. Getting ready now, 10 RPM, in 2, 1, and up, 90 RPM. But getting closer to a normal range for most of us. Good, watch those shoulders. Try not to lock them. Good. Being on the indoor bike, we tend towards some bad habits sometimes. It's a good time to practice good habits. All right, hang out here. 90 cadence. You can feel you're battling a little bit for oxygen because you're coming out of that endurance kind of range. Snapping or snatching for words a little bit. Stay right here. 15 more seconds, and you're gonna get to back the gear off. All right, in 5. Holding that 90 cadence. 2, 1, a little bit of gear off. You're using that 10 RPM to achieve the 70% number, so you can bring the gear off just a little bit. Good job. Smart trainer, you're having to tell it to make the adjustment depending on what mode you're in. There's a couple different options. 30 seconds already done at 90 cadence. Good job. Hold it right here. Relax those shoulders again. Nice soft bend in the elbows. Looking ahead. You're building that nice endurance range of cadence capability. 1 more minute like this. 1 more minute. Don't get too excited. Next one's 100 RPM. Good job. Awesome, you guys. Okay, just over 30 seconds. Bring it up to 100 RPM. Hanging on to that same gear. Feeling a little bit of a push into that 80% range that we all love so much. Okay. 15 seconds. You're gonna bring it up. Think about your feet. Think about the cranks getting a little bit shorter, like Ted always says. Think about just getting that quick tempo, quick turnover. 2, 1, and up, up. 100 cadence. This last 5 minutes or so is the hard part. 100 cadence. Good job. And remembering that you're not necessarily going to copy someone else's cadence, but you're trying to learn what works best for you and what your capability is over a range of RPM. 20 more seconds like this. Feeling a bit harder now. Last little bit, and you're gonna bring the gear down in 10 seconds. Okay, so hold on, that 100 RPM. 3, 2, a little bit of gear off. 70% again. 2 whole minutes here. Lock it in. Find your number. 70%, what does it feel like? If you're not super familiar, close to your hour power. Most of you here, it's probably just under. Some people hit that hour power a little lower level than others. So for most of you, I think this is under where you could ride for an hour. Good job, guys. Okay. Best part of a minute done. Another one to come up. And then a pretty fast, little overreaching. Good job. All right, just hold this number now. 1 more minute like this. Another minute, pushing it up to our 80. And what I'm gonna do is ask you just to hold that for the last bit of our prep here. We're gonna do some harder stuff after, okay? Good. 20 seconds. Bring it up to 110 on my cue, okay? Overreaching. In 5. Hold the gear. 2, 1, up, up. Come on. 110 now. Wind it up there. Get right on it. Awesome. See that number? Hold it. Good job. 30 seconds. Come on, guys. Quick feet. Quick feet. 110. Not a really normal cadence. for most of us. That's great little exercise. Hold on 10 seconds at this cadence. Okay, good job, guys. A little bit more. 2, 1, and just now, I want you to bring it up. If you haven't seen it already, your 85% number, and you can use gear, find a cadence, do whatever you want to tap onto that number, and give me 30 more seconds. Okay? Come on, guys. Last little bit. I'm just over 100 cadence now. Dropped it down. I brought some gear in. Come on, guys. Almost at 50 to go. Not too much lactic acid, just a little bit. All right, 10. A little bit less than 10. 5, 3, 2, 1. And back it off. Easy, easy. Easy, easy. Turn the pedals over. Oh. Good way to jump into it. Good work. Awesome. Okay. Nice flushing of the legs. We want to just feel that work kind of assimilated. Move it around. Always want to have your legs feeling good. Before you're completely done a piece of work. Okay. So that was a good little bit of cadence work. We're going to leave it at that. And move on to a little bit harder things to follow, okay? So that's a wrap on that piece.